Hey there, it's Gabrielle Nicolay from SpeechKids and Raising Orchid Kids, where we teach little kids to talk and help parents understand their kids. And I'm joined by Catina Sweedy from, tell me where it's from.
Embark Center for Self-Directed Education.
Oh my God, say that again. What?
Embark Center for Self-Directed Education in Leesburg, Virginia.
There we go. Okay, perfect. And what is that and why should we care?
So we are an alternative to traditional schooling where we believe that every child is inherently curious and excited about learning, and they can do so naturally in their own way. So we here at Embark, the adults, we are here to support them and encourage them, but get out of the way and hold back those invasive feelings of society that you have to do it a certain way and there's only one way to be and there's only one way to be successful and there's only one path. We're there to sort of hold those walls back to let children bloom and be who they are naturally in their present moment.
This is a radical notion.
It's unbelievably radical, and it does kind of blow my mind a bit that it is a radical notion to think, oh, we're going to talk about letting children play and socialize and explore their own interests up until the age of 4. And then once we get there, we're going to come in, all the adults and all the organizations, and we're going to say, nope, now we know what's best for this child. We know what's best for you. And you're going to all have to do it exactly the same. And you're all going to have to do it the way we say so. And if that doesn't work for you, you are broken. Not the system, not the structure, you. And that really is a brutal life to be living. And to think about that happening with little children, 4, 5, 6 years old, but then all the way through the rest of their lives. And then you hit that magic number of 18 and it's like, okay, now you can go out and do your own thing. Oh, wait, no, sorry. We're going to switch it to 22 because you're going to have to go to college. Oh, wait, no, now we're going to switch it to 24 because now you're going to have to go to grad school because you want a good job, don't you? And you want to be successful, don't you? And nobody lets them define success for themselves. And so what we're trying to do is sort of turn around and look at people for who they are and what they care about. We really only have this one life, and let's make it beautiful and, all about being together as community and working together in collaboration and exploring who you are and finding out who you are. So by the time you get to be 18, you're not like, oh no, now what do I do?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, God, I'm like jumping out of my chair because we could go all day. I can already tell. But how old are the kids that come to you and how does it work? Like set up the structure for us here.
Oh, great question. So we are right now, our current age range is from 10 to 18.
Okay.
And we're working our way down to lower ages. We'd like to make Embark available for everybody, but we want everybody to have a good experience here. So what we've found is that people tend to cluster not just what they're interested in, but also by their developmental ages too. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all the 6-year-olds play together, just like in school, all the 6-year-olds are in first grade and all the 7-year-olds are in second grade. People here at Embark, we don't separate by age, so people are able to go to classes with people that share interests regardless of age, play and work together with people regardless of age. So we get a lot of kids that get to be role models. We get a lot of kids that get to look up to people and learn to be in a community based on what they care about and what they're interested in, but they also care about each other in different ways. We get to see older children play again, which is really, it makes me cry almost every time I see it happen, because a lot of times when kids are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you're not allowed to play these things anymore. You're not allowed to play with dolls. You're not allowed to play with Minecraft or Legos and all these things. And then they get into a place like Embark where nobody is judging you based on what you're supposed to be doing by your age. So we have 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds teaching 17-year-olds how to play Minecraft, because it has to do with what you care about, what you're interested in, but also what you're an expert in. And we don't separate expertise by age either.
There's so much I want to say. Let's start with the basics though. Who are the families who feel like they need to find you? Because here's the fact. Most kids do just fine, in air quotes, okay, fine, in public school. They are square pegs in square holes, or round pegs in round holes, they fit, right?
Yes.
They don't need, they will find outlets, they will adapt. Those are the dandelions. We talk about the dandelions a lot, and the orchids, right?
Yeah.
So the kids that you're talking about are most of them are orchids, yes?
Yes, totally. So people that find us, and before I jump into that, I want to say that we support school too. We're not anti-school. We support what's best for you, what's best for your child. And just like you said, it does work for some kids. Some kids, it really works well for them. Some kids are able to weigh the pros and cons and say, you know what, I really love being in marching band, but if I were to leave school and go to a place like Embark Center, I'm not going to have a marching band. So now I'm willing to sit through chemistry or algebra 2 and do the work I need to do to make that happen so that I get to be in marching band. So there's benefits to both locations and systems. And I just wanted to, just say that out there first. So the people that find us are people that school wasn't working for them. Mainly, we get all sorts of reasons. Bullying is a big one, unfortunately. People that were trying to advocate for themselves, and not just other students that they were fighting against, but sometimes teachers and staff and administration, which is, it's nothing, it's just a hard thing to talk about, but it's very hard to run a school system with thousands of people in it. And you've got one person saying, hey, over here, these are my needs, and we have to meet my needs. And they're like, well, I've got 36 other kids in this class. I can't do that right
I
now.
want to pause here for a second, though,
Sure.
and we could do a whole 2 hours more on bullying. And at least in the lower grades, preschool, kindergarten, first grade, where adults still have a lot of sway, adults are setting the tone for what behavior is and is not tolerated. This is like me lecturing the public here, okay? So listen up, parents. If your child is feeling sad about going to school, anxious about going to school, and you talk to the teacher and the teacher is giving you signals that that your child is the problem, that's a problem. Because that means that the teacher is giving off signals that the student is the problem. And guess what? All the other kids in the class are reading that, because kids are very adept at reading people's energies and interpreting what they should do with that. And that is a terrible, terrible place to be, because and which results in what you're talking about, which is I tried to advocate for myself, I tried to get my needs met, and I was met with pile-on of like badness. Sorry.
And nobody can see me, or then I'm over here nodding my head.
Yeah.
And that not just piles on that year, but then the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year. And that reputation of that child continues to be weighted down with this heaviness of disappointment and failure and frustration. And just think about what that does to a human being. And it's inhumane. And so I'm here over in my corner saying you have other options. Your child doesn't have to stay in that class. They don't even have to go to school. There are plenty of other options out there other than traditional schooling. And your child can be honored for who they are. So yes,
I'm gonna cry.
so we get kids that have experienced the bullying, but it doesn't have to be really obvious too. It can be underneath that surface and insidious. So some kids that know something isn't feeling right, and then they have to go into this environment where something isn't feeling right, or they're trying to make friends and being ostracized or isolated or ignored. So that happens. We have a lot of kids in the LGBTQIA plus community that we're honored to have with us, just why we're honored to have all of our people with us. And we're sorry that they've had to have these really negative experiences before they've got here. We have some people that are really bored in school, It was just, they really wanted to be going off in one direction. And then they had to, the bell rang at 10:43, and now they have to stop exactly what they're doing and go into another class. And in a way, that's a theft of your liberty. It's a theft of your internal life where you're thinking about something and you're really working on something. So our structure here, we don't have a bell structure. All of our classes are created by Embark members. So nothing here is compulsory. They create their own academics, their own learning life here.
I can hear maybe not so much of the people who are listening to this, or watching this video, but there will be people who are like, oh my God, you're going to let the inmates run the asylum, pardon the awful metaphor. And you're like, children can't be trusted. Children can't be trusted with their own learning. And what you're saying is, actually, not only can they, but they should be, and here's how.
We don't just let them run the asylum for choosing what they want to learn. They actually run the asylum. So Embark is run by the kids and the teens along with staff. So decisions such as, and we're a nonprofit, so fundraising decisions, problem solving decisions, staff hiring decisions are all done together as a group. We have a community meeting that happens once a week on Wednesdays, and we meet together and we talk about how we are going to run this organization and what needs to happen. So they're an integral part of that. They are also an integral part of problem solving, because problems are going to happen in any community. We do not have a punitive system. We use restorative practices and nonviolent communication. So when problems arise, we talk about it. We meet together and we find ways to support each other so that we can be together as a community. And that can be very hard. So one of the things that we are always so fascinated with is this total focus on academics, when it's so easy to get academics, but it's so much more difficult to look at that person that you accidentally hurt, or maybe you did it on purpose, and talk to them about how that made them feel, and listen to them about how that made them feel, and then tell them about how you felt, and work it out together and find a way to be together in community. That's really, really difficult to do. It's actually a lot easier to just say, all right, you're out of here. We're going to give you a suspension, or we're going to give you a detention, because that is not actually coming together and talking about what came into that situation to cause that to happen. So that is actually really incredible growth. It's extremely powerful. And over and over and over again, we see young people stepping up in a way that would blow adults' minds, only because they don't trust children to be able to do these things, because we were never trusted as adults to be able to do.
Yes. Isn't that so interesting?
Yeah,
it pushes all of our buttons.
It is. It really is. And I've spoken with people before when we talk about what they do or what we do here, and they'll say, wait, you let a 6-year-old make a decision about, like one of our classics that comes up a lot in community meeting is toilet bowl etiquette. Like, all right, everybody, somebody is enthusiastically using the bathroom, and then I went in there and that was not what I wanted to experience. How are we going to solve this problem? And people are like, so you're telling me an 8-year-old has solutions to these problems? I'm like, yes, because they have to use that bathroom too. And so, sure, I have 47 years of life experience, right? But my 47 years is a lot different than somebody else's 8 years of experience. So when we all come together as a community with all of our different years of experience together, we have really great ideas and really good problem solving ideas.
Can you share about sort of what were some of the problem solves about the bathroom situation?
The toilet bowl etiquette.
Yeah. I love this but here's the thing. This is an example that transcends school, which is why I love it, right? Because we all have people in our homes, or have had in the past, who don't have the same toilet bowl etiquette that we would like them to have. So Continue.
Yes. No, I always make a joke that I'm like, these are life skills, like college roommate skills, your first roommate skills. You're going to need to know this. We have a kitchen here. And
Mhm.
another one that comes up a lot is doing the dishes.
Mhm.
How are we going to take care of the dishes? Because the magic dish fairy isn't going to clean that dish that you left in the sink. So with the toilet bowl etiquette, some of the ideas that came up were putting up signs. We had somebody that was one of our younger members that had older brothers, and he said, well, I know why there's pee all over the seat. They're on their phones. So they're watching videos in there because that's what my brothers do. So we should probably have a sign up that says no phones in the bathroom. And then when they put up signs, they were funny signs and things like that. But even just by having the conversation together, it kind of took care of the toilet bowl etiquette, because the people that were, tinkling on the seats, were now aware that, oh, wow, I'm having an impact here in this community. I didn't realize that this was the thing that I was doing. And so a lot of those things, people will actually take that responsibility on their own, just by having that conversation.
Which is it is the opposite approach to, I want to know who did this. I want you to fix it in isolation, probably without any help. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, no.
Right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and by the way, because that's regular discipline, that's what we've all been acculturated to.
Yeah.
But now we're talking, and particularly if we're talking, but that works to some degree with dandelions. If we're talking about orchids, now you've got increased levels of shame, increased levels of anxiety. You've got basically a subclinical trauma response to a mistake, an insignificant one at that now takes on this whole big thing about the time that I got called out for peeing on the seat. Yeah. And now you wonder why your child has trouble using the bathroom.
Right.
In a public place, for example, right? Because all of these things travel together. And when you've got these susceptible, I like to think of them as just systems that are susceptible to stress, right? Is really what orchids are. And so they have an outsized response to any kind of little life event. What you're doing here is just like being like, that's bullshit for everybody.
Right.
Nobody needs to be treated like that.
No, and I even think about the dandelions too, because I wonder how many of them are masking that, and they're just pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. And then of course you have to go to math class, right? So then you still have to do all of that, and you have to do your 3.5 hours of homework when you get home.
Right.
And then sometimes we have ones that don't really resolve the way the person that wanted to resolve it thought it would happen. So we had somebody, obviously with many different kinds of people, we have different needs. So some people are very sensitive to smells. And so somebody wrote up on the board, smelly BO, and they wanted to talk about body odor. And so when they got in there, they started to talk about it in a way that was less critical or than the way they wrote it, and were trying very hard to be polite, but the discussion went in this direction that was really reflective. It was, okay, well, people need to shower more, but what if they don't have access to a shower? What if they don't have access to a washing machine? What if they, they obviously don't know, but is this something I can tell somebody, or how do I tell somebody, or do I even tell somebody? And then it turned into is there a place in the building that we can put a washing machine so people can come here and do their laundry and they don't have to feel like, or what if they can't do their laundry, and we have a shower here that nobody uses, we use it for storage, but maybe we should get that shower going. So maybe people, if they need to take a shower, can take a shower here. Or maybe I can just, since I'm the one that's really sensitive to it, I can just go into a different room, or we have air filters and I can maybe get the air filter going. And it turned into that person coming in the situation saying, these people need to fix it, saying, okay, wait, what do I need to do to adapt and adjust? Because maybe they can't.
Wow. And then, how about that empathy and compassion, which is what we say we want to teach kids all the time. And yet then we show them none of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good. Oh my God. We could sit here all day. I'm going to pin it there, but we're going to do this again. I definitely want to drill down on restorative justice practices. And I definitely want to drill down on the bullying question. and sort of self-advocacy at a
Yeah.
later date. So will you come back?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to.
Okay, perfect. If people want to know more about where this place is, this magical, mythical place, where should they go?
So you can find us on the web at www.embarkcenter.org. We also are on Facebook at Embark Center, and we are on Instagram at Embark Center and Twitter, but we really don't go to Twitter anymore. We just do Instagram and Facebook. If you want to see pictures and just hear about events that we have coming up, we like to sponsor a lot of events for families to support their children more in creative ways outside of traditional schooling, but also peaceful parenting and supporting kids where they are. So yes, follow us on social media. You can reach me at Catina@embarkcenter.org if you have any questions or want to be on our mailing list to know what we're up to.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
So fun.